using the M1 Max MacBook Pro 16-inch, and man, anything I throw at it, it pretty much it tears it up in a good way. Like it handles it with no sweat. So first impressions, as soon as I took it out the box, this is a very thick laptop. Look how thick this looks. And it's pretty hefty too. And I actually have the first ever MacBook Pro, and you guys can see side by side, it's pretty much identical. This is like a throwback to the original MacBook Pro. So yeah, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me as long as we get into power, the battery life, that's all that matters. These new MacBooks, they just tools, very expensive tools at that, but no matter how much money you spend, as long as you making money to make that money back, that's all that matters. Then when I was editing on Final Cut Pro, the first video I edited was the Apple cloth, the polishing cloth, doing a review on that. It's just a joke. It handles the 4K, 422, 10-bit video with no problems. You don't have to create no proxies. It's really that good, man. And you guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about. All in all, what I'm trying to say, it handles this A7S III camera with no problems. And down the road, I'm planning on getting another high-end camera. So I know the M1 Max is going to handle it really well. You buying this to future-proof yourself. You know, you want to get this to have as much power for the future, because cameras are getting more demanding. We have 8K now, and I'm happy that Apple went back to its roots. They brought back the SD card slot. They brought back the HDMI port, so you can hook this up to a monitor. And also, you have Thunderbolt 4, so you could be able to connect external drives and have insanely fast read-write speed. So I don't have to worry about bringing dongles with me. So I'm happy. That's going to save a lot of headaches. I want to briefly talk about the display. That notch. The notch is very noticeable. Right when you open up your MacBook for the very first time, you notice the notch right away. What I ended up doing, I installed an app called Top Notch that's gonna actually hide the notch by blacking the menu bar altogether. I like the fact how the bezels go almost edge to edge, but that notch is kind of an eyesore in my opinion. I don't care who says, oh, you don't see it after use. Maybe I need to give it some time, but I had to hide the notch right away. But the notch aside, the display is top notch. You see what I did there? You have the Apple Pro XDR display right here on the MacBook, which is insane. That is just nuts. So you have a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratios. You have ProMotion, so 120 hertz refresh rate. That's going to be very handy. If your camera shoots 4K at 120, you can actually see the 4K 120 finally. So the display is absolutely gorgeous. I saw the Pro XDR display in the Apple Store. Looks beautiful. The fact how you can get that same tech onto a laptop is mind-blowing. And mind you, the MacBook Pro is cheaper than the Pro XDR display, and you still got to buy a stand to hold up the display too. So if you want to look at it like that, the MacBook offers incredible value. Going away of the touch bar, you know, the touch bar was something that was a little finicky, a little glitchy. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, 80% of the time I use my MacBook on this beautiful monitor here, this ultra wide, so I have a wider canvas. But the other 20% times I take it with me on the go. I take it with me while laying down, trying to finish up a last minute project before I sleep. You know, I like the fact how we could be able to move around with a MacBook Pro while having desktop quality or desktop performance. Right now, the M1 Max MacBook Pro is the fastest Mac ever until they update the Mac Pro and maybe do something with the 27-inch iMac. But for now, this is incredible value, and I'm super impressed. No more proxies on Final Cut Pro. It's able to just smoothly, very smoothly at high absolute full resolution play back the 4K at 30 or 60 or even 120. It handles it with flying colors, and I know it's only going to impress me even more because I didn't even enable the high performance mode. I'm actually doing some testing right now as we speak, and the M1 Max is totally wiping the floor. Like, Intel is done. I'm definitely going to be selling my Intel-based MacBook Pro. Hopefully somebody would buy it. The only thing I would say is missing is the glowing Apple logo. Since Apple brought back the ports, revert back to the original MacBook Pro design, I feel like it's only right to give us that glowing Apple logo. This is still beautiful. And I had to go with the silver color just because back in the days, the only color you could have got was silver. Space gray is still nice. Just silver is that classic color. This is a classic MacBook, and you know it's real. You know it's real when Apple gives us black Apple stickers. Once they do that, it's a wrap. You know this MacBook or this product is for the professionals. I remember they did that for the iMac Pro. I unboxed that. That cost $10,000. And the fact how the M1 Max can outperform, I need to test that. I got to do my testing first, but I know it's going to outperform it. It's going to be mind blowing.